Hi, it's Steph, and I got some plant mail today, and it's from a fellow gardening YouTuber. So we're gonna go ahead and open it up and check it out. Today's video is a fun one because anytime you get plant mail, it's a good day. Fellow YouTuber Janey over at Dig Plant Water Repeat has been a friend and pretty much a colleague since we both started our channels around the same time. And we were talking a couple of weeks ago and we thought it would be really fun to do sort of a collab and a plant swap. She would send me something that I could try growing in my zone and I would send her something that she could try growing in her zone. So today I received my plant mail and we're gonna go ahead and open it up and find a place in the garden to plant it. Janey and I garden in completely different gardening zones. I'm on the East Coast in Massachusetts and she's all the way on the West Coast in Northern California. She gardens in a zone 9B and I garden in a zone 6B. So we are trying to push the limits a little bit with the plant that we chose for each other. So I think it's going to be a really fun experiment and I'm excited to get this plant opened up and planted in my garden. And here's a little clip from Janey explaining what she chose for me and why.
Hey Steph, Janey here from all the way across the country in Northern California. Thank you so much for doing this fun project with me. I can't wait to see what you sent me to grow in my zone 9B garden, and I am so excited for you to get the plant that I chose for you for your zone 6B garden. So the plant I chose for you, I chose it for a couple reasons. One of them is that it is one of my favorite plants that I have in my garden. It is such a wonderful shrub to have kind of as like a backbone or a staple in your garden. The second reason why I chose this plant is because I was watching one of your question and answer videos a couple weeks ago and you mentioned in that video that you wish you could grow Loropetalum or Chinese fringe flower in your zone 6B garden. And yes, I know Chinese fringe flower is hardy zones 7 through 9. So you're just missing the cutoff. But you know I like to push it with zones. I like to push it in my garden, and finding a microclimate in your yard, you might be able to find a place that a Chinese fringe flower will be happy. It's worth a try. This is my gift to you, and if this plant doesn't survive over the winter, I promise I will buy you a new one that's hardy in your zone. But I just love Chinese fringe flower. I have one of mine right here, right behind me. I love it so much. I just want you to try it and see if it works in your garden. It is a fabulous evergreen. It has this gorgeous dark red burgundy foliage all season long, and in early spring for me, probably mid-spring for you, it gets these beautiful fuchsia fringy like blooms. It blooms when nothing else in my garden is blooming, and it's the first thing I see in the early season, and it makes me so happy because I know the season's about to start once my fringe flower starts growing. I chose to send you Jazz Hands Mini from Proven Winners because I know you're a little short on garden bed space. I know you have a fantastic, huge garden, and I know how much George likes his lawn. So this should be able to fit pretty well in one of your garden beds. Jazz Hands Mini gets about 12 inches tall, and it can get up to 3 feet wide. So it's a little bit more of a ground cover as opposed to my fringe flowers that are a little bit more big shrubs, but I really think that you're going to enjoy it. So one of the things that Proven Winners does recommend if you're growing Jazz Hands Mini in a cold climate is to put a little bit extra mulch around the plant, and that should help keep it insulated over your cooler winters. So I really hope you enjoy this plant, Steph. Enjoy the beautiful foliage throughout the season, and then we will all cross our fingers for you that it lasts over your winter and you can enjoy the beautiful fringe flowers that come with the fringe flower shrub next season, early spring.
Thank you so much, Janey, for sending me this plant. I'm really excited to grow it. Let's get into the unboxing. Whenever you get some plants in the mail, it's always important to look at the box to see if it gives you any clue as to how you should open it, because the plants will likely have dirt in them, right? And so you don't want to make a mess and risk taking it out on the opposite side. So I read the box and it says open from the bottom, so that's what I'm going to do. And here it is. The tag was in the box. This here is called the Jazz Hands Mini, and it is a Chinese fringe flower in a dwarf variety. And I really love the dark foliage and the fact that it has really early spring color with really beautiful finger looking type blooms in a pretty shade of pink. They actually are very reminiscent, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the fringe flower is part of the same family as witch hazel. So if you ever saw the blooms on a witch hazel, they kind of look like little finger tendrils. That is the look of the blooms on the Chinese fringe flower. So I am really excited to try growing this in my garden. Now, this plant is rated for a zone 7 and up, and I garden in a zone 6B in Massachusetts. So it'll be tricky to keep this plant alive over the winter because it isn't rated for my zone. So the best chance it has at living would be if I had it in a protected location. Now, the spot that I have planned for it is not exactly a protected location, but it will get some sun, and I'm hoping that it does well. So I'm going to do my best to plant it and hope that it thrives. But let's go ahead and I'll show you where I'm planning on planting this shrub. Here are the specs on the Jazz Hands Mini Chinese Fringe Flower. It's a petite shrub and it's by Proven Winners Color Choice. And it needs sun or part shade. It's hardy in zone 7B through 9 or down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. It gets to be 1 foot tall and 3 feet wide. And it blooms in spring. And right here in my Japanese maple garden area that we're working on is where I'm planning on putting the Chinese fringe flower. I think this will be a great spot for this because it's going to have a nice color contrast with the other plantings I have along the edge here. I have some Japanese painted fern as well as some Hakonakloa gold grass. So between the gold grass and this Japanese painted fern with this dark foliage of the Chinese fringe flower, I think it'll look really beautiful. It also gets to be about 3 feet wide by 1 foot tall, so it should fill out this area really nicely. Well, here it is all planted in its spot. At the moment, it's blending in with my mulch, but this really beautiful dark foliage should look really pretty in this spot once it starts to grow and put on some size. Now, I'm really hopeful that it will thrive in this location and that it will grow and bloom and look really pretty. It is iffy on whether or not it's going to make it in my zone because it's rated to a 7. I'm gardening in a zone 6. But I'm going to do my best to keep this plant happy by providing it some insulation as we go into the colder months. I will give it a little extra mulch and some leaves to provide some warmth, and hopefully it comes through the winter. But gardening is just a big experiment. It's fun to try different things, and some things may work and some may not, but we'll never know unless we try. So I am excited to have done this project with Janey, and I am going to go ahead and link her video right below in the description of this video so that you can go over and watch on her channel and see which plant I chose for her Northern California Zone 9B garden. So thank you for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.